just know that you don't have to wait until January 1st to press the reset button.
That's right.
If it's November 2nd, you can press the reset button of your life at any point in time in your life.
There's always tomorrow. Nothing, God never ever wastes a hurt. Whatever you're going through has a reason. There's a lesson behind it.
Yes.
And if we decide to learn the lesson and graduate, we can become better people.
Heal yourself, invest in yourself, think for yourself, and get heavy in personal development.
In 5 years, if somebody says, I'm going to be a student of the game, I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired, and they make their goals, they surround themselves, they listen to the right information, they apply the information, they develop the discipline, 5 years from now, somebody that used to think that life was unfair can now say, you know what, I made life fair. Hey guys, welcome to the Driven Not Given podcast. Man, today is a first of its kind because I've got three gentlemen that I've got a tremendous amount of respect for. Listen, everybody that I get on the podcast, I've got a tremendous amount of respect for. But these three gentlemen have been on the podcast before individually, and now they are all three here. Two of them know each other, and another friend of mine, Dr. Lewis, who will be the first person I introduce, is just an absolute stud, a mentor of mine for a long time. The sharpest guy on here, you know what I'm saying, made me want to go back home and get dressed. How you doing, Dr. Lewis?
I should be dressed like you guys. I'm doing great, Jared. Thank you for this opportunity. It's JC. It's amazing. It's always fun to be here. We were here maybe about a year ago.
Yep.
And I had a great time. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you for coming, man.
These fine gentlemen.
Yep. And I gotta say, man, you look like you came out of a GQ magazine, bro.
No, looking sharp.
Well, I'm 54.
I'm here with my polo in my hat.
Yeah.
I'm 54 now, and I really, for us, longevity is the key. We're just talking about our kids. I have a 21, a 16, and a 13-year-old, and the goal is to be as vibrant and vital for them in my later ages as I am in my early age. So yeah,
that's awesome.
Health is important.
So you have how many boys?
3 boys.
3 boys.
Fabian
Nice.
is 21.
Suertudo.
Isaiah is 16, and Elijah is 13.
Very nice.
And can you share? You said that your family has how many?
Oh yeah.
boys?
So my cousins, I have 27 cousins. 25 boys and 2 girls.
Wow.
So there's a science for making boys that we can talk about.
Yeah, we can talk about that on the podcast.
Hey, share that with me.
That's a great subject.
Wow, that's a great subject.
That's right. Yeah.
That's coming from the doc, man.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So good. Well, listen, I must have did something right because I got 2 boys, right?
Absolutely.
The great Maximus.
He's been aligning you, huh? Need to go with him?
Exactly. There it is. That's what it is. I think you got to get adjusted more often. I think that's what.
And just watching you on social media with the boys, it's what you're doing with them is extraordinary. The way Oprah Winfrey says, words become worlds, right? And just the words, the life, the power that you're speaking into them, it's invaluable. It took me 4 or 5 years, being born and raised in South Central, having a functional alcoholic for a dad. It took me years to detox my mind. So what you're doing for them is phenomenal. I applaud you.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
That's beautiful.
It's the personal growth, right? It's listening
Absolutely.
to people like yourself, having friends like these gentlemen like yourself, and we all the 4 of us understand the importance of personal growth, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so then I've got my buddy right here, Jose Perez, who's the CEO and founder of Nueva Real Estate, good friend of mine for over 25 years.
Do marketing, right?
Crushing it. There you go. He's marketing, right? How you doing, my brother?
I'm doing great, bro. It's good to see you.
Likewise.
Me and JC go way back. He's my brother. We've shared many Vegas rooms when we were getting started network marketing, right, bro? We had like 20 people to one room. Some people sleeping in the bathtub. So it's just humbling to see where you've how far you've gone and the growth that you've experienced, and just seeing you so focused. And nobody better to be blessed with 2 boys than you, because you're an amazing dad. I commend you on that. Absolutely. I know we used to talk about that when I had a kid before he did, and I was younger than him, and I always knew he was going to be a great dad. So what he said is true.
Thank you.
What you're putting in their mind and implementing them to say it's going to be huge when they get older.
Yeah,
absolutely. Of course, I think us looking back, we wish our parents did that for us, but unfortunately they didn't have the personal growth that we've experienced. So I commend you for that.
Thank you, bro. Yeah. Well, I mean, both of you guys are very, say some very nice things and compliment me very well. And I feel the same way about you guys. You guys are extraordinary dads. And you guys both showed me before I was a father what a good father is, right? So I just try to take learn and do the best that I can. And you have a daughter, right? It's now 17.
17. Wow. Yeah, I'm on that stage right now. I know you guys can't give me advice yet. None of you guys.
Well, you still got time,
so just let me borrow your guns. That's it.
Yeah, exactly.
But
Well,
yeah,
I will give you this. Listen, this is what I heard. I don't know if it's true, but this is what I've heard about making boys. When you have boys, you have to pass on some of your testosterone to your boys. So when a man doesn't have enough,
you know they say in Spanish, when we could translate this on the word, it said, hombre es el hombre es el que engendra una mujer, porque la mujer da vida. You know, okay. So I think that my gene's a little more powerful. Right?
There you go, man.
Well, I got both combos, so we're good.
There you go. And then we got my buddy Manny here. Manny is an incredible entrepreneur, incredible person, one of the sharpest people that I know. I consider this guy, as far as the rest of you guys as well, a renaissance man. And he's actually the founder of the Financial Architects. Absolutely crushing it. Got to start in network marketing. That's what got him into the mindset of the champion that he is now. And anyways, how you doing, my brother?
I'm doing awesome, man. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, no,
thanks
for
having me.
on,
I got my Andrew Tate, Manny Soto version glasses on, so I want to be in the role. Yeah.
Hey, listen, it's fitting for the subjects that we're going to talk about today, my brother.
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. So we're going to get right into it, gentlemen. Again, thank you all for coming on the podcast, and we're gonna give people some value. We're gonna have a good conversation. We're gonna have a lot of fun, and we're gonna get into it. So one of the first things, and one of the main reasons why we are all here today is, I want us to talk about Andrew Tate, him getting canceled, some of the things that he's being accused of. I personally believe that, in my opinion, 80% of what Andrew Tate talks about that I've seen, I agree with. 20% I definitely don't agree with. There's 5% that I absolutely do not agree with at all. We're completely opposite spectrums, right? But I guess I will start off by asking, why do you guys think the main reason why that guy got canceled is?
For me, I mean, I'm gonna speak highly on everything. Everything's getting canceled right now, which is unfortunate.
Yeah.
You can't really speak your mind anymore because then you get people that get offended. I think as society is becoming very soft. Mm-hmm. They're getting very sensitive.
Yep.
Which is unfortunate because then you can't really speak your mind without, the public wanting to cancel you. Then it hurts your business, hurts your family, hurts everything. So you have to be really careful what you do.
Yep.
Now, be more censored. Of course, you're running a business. You have to protect it. And sometimes you feel, am I really being genuine because I can't get to share my views?
Right.
And he gets to share his views, and he's getting canceled by the society. So I think as a society, we have a really soft and a lot of, I won't use those words, but it's very soft society.
Yes.
And everybody and their mama's getting canceled out because of their views that they share. I think we just need to build more of a thicker skin. We talk about the network marketing, building that rhino skin. Hey, he has his views. You have to respect them. They're not your views. Don't accept them. And that's
right.
It was never like this before. I talked to my squad the other day. I've been doing financial services for 19 years now, and YouTube came out roughly 15 years ago.
Yeah.
So I talked to them. I said, hey man, if you can't build a business, you got YouTube, you got Instagram, you got Facebook, you got these new other platforms coming out. You're crazy nuts. But it's the same thing with the culture out there right now, where it's so viral, man. And we all know this. Negatives spread faster than positives a lot of the different times. And clips. I do a lot of reels on my Instagram, and my media guy clips. He clips. Yes. It may be an hour of content, but he clips it down to under 90 seconds.
Yes.
So a lot of the publication about Tate is negative in the sense that anybody can manipulate a video now to make it whatever content they want to be filled. So the culture shock in people is just out of control right now. That's why my daughter is homeschooled, man. I got a 13-year-old daughter, and she's homeschooled, and I'm grateful for her mom for biting the bullet and doing the homeschooling, because there's a lot of beliefs out there right now that we don't agree with, but we don't say this should be canceled, that should be canceled. We just have our own family bond, and we go, hey, this is what our beliefs in. She can't have social media until she's 18, and she can make the decision. And if we disagree with something, then we're pivoting and moving left or moving right. We don't like it enough, we'll move to freaking Florida.
Exactly. Those are my thoughts exactly, man. Dr. Lewis, what do you think is the reason?
I'm like you. I don't hear him a lot. Actually, my 21-year-old son told me about Andrew Tate about 2 months ago. And before that, I had seen him, but just wasn't really something that I was attracted to. My mentor said this a long time ago. He said, most great people are going to be ridiculed before they're revered, right? So most great people, they're always going to be put down. Yesterday, we were driving with my wife. One of my son's friends' father passed away suddenly 2 weeks ago. And we all are taking dinners to the family. And we were talking about my mentor who passed away a year ago due to COVID. And he was someone that was really comfortable in his skin.
Yes.
He believed what he believed. He stood by what he believed. But because he had his personal beliefs and he knew his viewpoints, he was open and willing to listen to everyone else without judgment.
Yes.
And I think in our society right now, I think there's so many people that don't have their own personal beliefs. So it's real easy to judge others. Even if you don't stand firm in what you believe in, it's very quick to judge others. So, I mean, Andrew Tate has some very strong, extreme beliefs, right? I think he's talking about financial prosperity and giving secrets and tools to creating wealth, and that may ruffle the feathers of the
I don't even think it's extreme. It's not. That's not even extreme.
Mm-hmm.
Like his beliefs are not extreme, in my opinion. It's just he's sharing his beliefs. That's what's extreme. It's like, oh my gosh, how does he say this? When 90% of the dudes are like, yeah, that's the way it should be, man. But they're afraid to share it.
Right.
So that's what sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you get these people that start talking, and so it's interesting.
It's a snowflake society that we live in now, right? I mean, I think it was what is his name? Stephen Areno. He passed away from cancer like 2 years ago. He has a great book, and I reference this book very often because it's so true. And he says this, and I'd like you guys' opinion on this. And Andrew Tate addresses this. So does Joe Rogan and a bunch of people. He says, strong men create easy times. Therefore, easy times create weak men. Weak men create tough times, and the cycle repeats itself, right? Yep. And I think that we've had it so good, especially in this country for so long, that men are becoming weak, man. Yeah. Kids now get 100%. Participation trophies and stuff, right? You and I talked about that in our podcast, Dr. Lewis. And so I think right now it's cool to be a victim, right? It's cool to complain and stuff. So, the whole Me Too movement and stuff, right? In different areas, people take pride in being a victim.
Yeah. Horrible.
Yeah. I grew up in a place where being a victim was like, bro, what the hell is wrong with you, man? Yeah. Man up. Warrior that shit up. In martial arts, it was warrior that shit up.
Yeah.
Right? Oh, yeah, you lost. Like, for example, I went to Canada, got my ankle broken in a tournament. Karate teacher says, hey, man, we didn't come this far to go out on a sprained ankle, wrap his foot up, get up and fight again. Then they did that. I got up and realized, oh, it was broken. Okay, well, hey, listen, train harder next time. You always got next year. He didn't baby me. Yeah. And because actually my karate teacher, interesting enough, was a private teacher to his kids as well.
Yeah.
I didn't have the private teacher, right? But he was one of the best, right, to this day.
Awesome. Amazing.
Yep. Yeah. Shout out to Jose Pacheco, by
Absolutely.
the way.
Absolutely.
So what is your guys' take on that? Why do you guys think today? What are some of the things about today and why people are such snowflakes?
It's bullshit. It's really bullshit. It's all these kids getting whatever they want to, like obesity out of control, people's mindsets out of control. It's like everything is okay nowadays, and that's just not. It's a parenting challenge. Yes. It's an absolute parenting challenge, in my opinion. And whether you're a single dad or a married dad or married mom or single mom, it doesn't matter, man. Woman the F up, or man the F up. Let's get it going. And our kids, like my kids, when my two boys were 13 and 15, I sent their little asses door knocking, man, because I wanted them to really understand the value of money. I wanted them to know, hey, it's not rainbows and gold at the end of the rainbow. Like let's go. It's time to work. Yeah. Right. And I think that a lot of us nowadays, we think, man, we work so hard. We don't want our kids to work hard like that. And that's the food for failure. That's horrible.
They're growing up with no grit. I'm seeing a lot of the younger guys that are coming into my company, and this grit is something you can't teach. The hunger, the stuff, the struggle, and I think that's a lot. And we're living inside of entitlement. Everybody's entitled. Everybody, wants to be entitled to this, entitled to that, without having to really put the real work for it. And for me, is I'm seeing that more with the younger generation. They don't have a lot of responsibility because their parents are babying them too much. They're spoiling them too much. I used to take my daughter too. I used to take her door knocking when she was with me. She got tired. She does not want anything to do with real estate. Just so you know, my daughter has no want or need to want to do real estate because I used to take her to that. I took her to showing appointments. I took her to door knocking. She's been sitting in with me at open houses from time to time, and it's so she can see and she appreciates that. She's older, like, damn, this is what it takes to actually make money in this business. And I think that's what we don't do enough with the younger generation. We're making it too easy for them. And that's what's creating the weak society. And everybody gets offended now because they don't get exposed to
weak as hell, that
we grew up with. Yeah. Like you said, he found out he grew up in South Central too. I grew up in South Central. Just to get home, we have to be survival. Imagine the kids now having to walk home from school.
They'll get killed.
They will not survive. We had to be alert, right? It's like, hey, those cholos gonna come up with me. I remember I was standing, we're calling my tia or somebody to come pick us up. Cholo comes up, where are you from? They sock us. They just hit me in the face for no reason.
Right.
So they decided to throw themselves on the floor, cry, oh my God, where's my mommy? You know what I mean? I had to fucking eat it up. Try to fight back, but they pull out some guns on us, so we can't mess with that.
Exactly.
And then we move forward. Hey, me madrearon y ya estuvo. But that build, that character. And I think that's what's lacking right now.
Yeah.
It's the build of character. So it's not their fault. As parents, we try to give them more of what we didn't have and a better lifestyle. But I think that we need to get good as parents to showing them how hard things can really be and putting them through that, so they have a better understanding of what it takes to not get offended easily. Yeah. To have grit, to have tough skin, to push through when somebody doesn't agree with what you say. You're not gonna go out there and try to cancel them. Right. I don't know. Yep. I'm
freedom of speech is gone.
Yeah, freedom of speech is gone. Yep.
And listen, man, it's a pivotal moment right now when Tate got canceled, for example. I don't know if you guys know, it was a simultaneous attack on all his life. Every social media got canceled, but not only social media. His Uber account got canceled. His Airbnb account got canceled. Trading accounts got canceled. That lets you know, wow, the establishment is everything.
It's large.
Because he had a very big voice, and I think that they silenced him at a very pivotal infancy stage of his. Even though he had a lot of influence, a month ago he was the most Googled man in the world. Yep. Right? Wow. Yeah, imagine that, right? And what was he saying to be? He was saying, listen, we live in a society where boys are being taught to be like girls and to be weak. And guess what? How do you weaken a society? How do you weaken a people? You weaken and take away the men, or you make them grow weak men, because that is this is his views, and I like your guys' opinions on this. He says, this is the biggest threat to the establishment, is men that think for themselves. People nowadays don't think for themselves. So what is your guys' opinion on that? Do you guys agree? Do you disagree? I love Dr. Lewis' opinion on this.
No, just to backtrack just a little bit. I think that, and I just met Manny. But I'm sure that you guys have this story, right? From wherever you grew up, maybe things were a little difficult and times were hard and you had to fight through it. And I know yourself and I know myself, and that's what builds our identity, right? Yes. And again, where I was born and saw my parents are immigrants that came to this country 62 years ago. My mom she only attained a 5th grade education. My dad's 6th grade education. So when I was young, I thought education was the way out of the ghetto, right?
Same.
Then I became educated. I graduated, right? At 24 years old, licensed doctor of chiropractic, but I had no resources. And then something changed my life. I met a person that mentored me for 19 years. And that person changed my life because he changed my philosophy. Since then, my life has become totally different. But we're faced with a crossroads. We're faced with a crisis because now you have a group you have another generation that's relatively successful, but now their kids are being born into the success. Yes. Right? Yeah. They're not born on King Boulevard. They're born in Laverne Hills. Right. And so how do we fabricate that environment? That's true. Going back to you.
Great question.
Going back to you and Maximus. I love when you're like training them. The story that comes to mind. My son has a black belt in Japanese Shotokan. He was at his first tournament with Coach Pacheco.
Yeah.
And it was an international tournament, and there was kids from different countries, and there was this little boy named Max, I'll never forget, from Mexico. It was my son's first tournament, and it wasn't point fighting. It was what's the other, not point fighting,
Continuous?
but continuous. He didn't know what continuous was, neither did I. And they were in an octagon. This little kid just starts, just tearing him up. So my son calls timeout. I didn't even know he could call timeout. He calls timeout, and he comes to me. He said, Dad, and he's crying. I said, son, are you hurt? He said, no. I said, are you bleeding? He said, no. I said, you got to turn around. You got to finish the fight.
Yeah.
I don't care if you run around for the next 3 minutes. You have to finish the fight. Well, of course, he lost that fight. And we were going through the hotel, and I had parents coming up to me super upset. They're like, why didn't you throw the white towel in? I said, so let me explain this. I said, he was at a heightened level of emotion. If I throw the white towel in, when he's at a state where he's losing, but the emotion is so big, I'm deepening the thought that you can quit whenever you want, and I'm not going to raise a quitter.
Wow.
I'd rather raise someone that loses a battle than a quitter. I said, I'm never going to do that. So what we've done in our household is put our kids in environments of adversity, environments of challenge. You guys talk about your kids. I had my kids cold calling, farming with me, going to farmers.
That's what I'm talking about. That's the common denominator.
Absolutely.
Is fostering independence.
Absolutely. I love.
We all foster
cold calling.
independence.
I love doing that stuff. You know what I mean? And my son would come to me. He's like, Dad, this is hard. I said, that's the point.
Yes.
I said, this is hard.
supposed to be.
And this is what I want you to learn. Not that you're ever going to cold call or door knock for the rest of your life, but you need to build that skin, that you need to understand what grit is about, because otherwise we will raise a generation of people that are entitled. Especially on social media.
Straight up.
I can walk by a mall, stand next to a Lamborghini, take a picture, put it out. Now everyone thinks, oh, I'm 20 years old with a Lamborghini. No. That Lamborghini takes blood, sweat, and tears to get that Lamborghini. But the perception, right, on social media. So it's a tremendous challenge right now to raise young men and young women, to raise men and women rightfully strong, not egotistically strong, but confident and courageous in their own identity. It's quite a challenge.
Same thing for health too. I see some obese little kids, man, little 10-year-old, 11-year-old, chunky A's, and that is a parenting freaking problem. I almost want to get into, and this goes back to what's accepted in society, is I want to get in the parents' dish and go, hey man, stop taking them to McDonald's. Like, I know you're in a hurry, but you're fucking up your kids.
Yes.
Like, what the hell's wrong with you? Like, I have certain things that are drawbacks of mine. Nobody's going to be perfect, but in the sense that creating a good adult, that is your responsibility.
Yes.
It was Frederick Taylor that said that, man. I'd rather create great little humans to become great adults than to try and fix broken human beings, like big grown-up human beings. Like, that's your responsibility. And that's the reason why society is where it's at right now, and unfortunately where it's going. And for a guy like Tate to come out and say, like, hey, you're fat. Oh, hey, you might offend my little... Well, he's fat because of you. Oh, man, now they have to own it.
Yep.
Hey, you're a bully at school. You're a bully because your parents fight all the time and your dad hits your mom. That's you. That's your fault,
Right.
And they need to own it. They need to soak it up, and they go, hey, man, I need to change what I'm currently doing to change what I'm currently getting. And it's just, society is just so jacked that it pisses me off. I think I'm going to move to like Wyoming or something.
No, listen,
You've been to Florida and Wyoming already.
Exactly, man. This guy's going to go all over.
I'm going to have you over, Doc. That's fun.
I'll tell you what, right now, my place for, my top pick place right now so far is Sarasota. Although I'm having second downs after what recently happened. So my prayers out to
Well, if
the
any of you guys want to sell your house, just let me know.
Exactly.
I'll refer you to a nice agent out of state.
No, but to your point of raising kids in that state, as you know, my son Maximus is in jiu-jitsu, and Alexander's not there yet because he's only 1, right? But 6 months from now he'll be training, right? No, soon enough.
I believe you. I believe you.
He'll be training at home. I got pictures of Maximus at 2 years old doing an armbar on me. Granted, he didn't know what he was doing and stuff, but to me, for example, martial arts is like, if you ever see my kid train, They do duck walks, they do sprawls, they do, lunges all the way across the mat. You'll see one kid that'll start from one side of the mat and finish to the other side of the mat. Never once takes a shortcut. Never once. Everybody else, they could do an extra 1 or 2. This guy will go all the way over there because I said, listen, I don't care about you being the fastest. You do it the best. Because I instill these things into him, right? Because I want him to have that discipline, because I believe that discipline trumps motivation. Would you guys agree that discipline trumps motivation?
Sure.
And I said, no, these other kids are going to stop before you do. You go all the way. It doesn't matter what they do. You're not influenced by what they do. You influence them by what you do. So you're supposed to go all the way, you go all the way. And he always goes all the way. He has long curly hair, right? We love his hair. It looks like Tarzan, right? And as he gets older, this guy, I could only imagine when he gets older, he's going to be a jiu-jitsu, wrestling, kickboxing guy. He's going to be in great shape. All the girls, man. That's what I'm saying, man. You know what I'm saying? Like Jaylene, you know what I'm saying? But the point that
a cougar, but
Tate,
Right.
Tate talks about that too. He said that his life lesson with his dad was when his dad took him to the barber and shaved his head off.
Oh, is that right?
Did you know that? Yeah.
No, I didn't see that.
Shaved his head off. So his dad and his mom were always bickering about how parenting was going to be inside of the household. So him and his brother, they went to get a haircut, and the dad was off to a chess tournament because his dad was a chess champion. So his dad was off to a chess tournament. He comes back 4 months, 5 months later, and the first day he's back, his mom says, they messed up Andrew's hair. Andrew's his middle name, by the way, but they messed up Andrew's hair. And then the dad goes, "The fuck? You teaching my kids how to be wimps or what? Who cares about their hair?" And he's 12 years old. This is what I'm talking about when I'm talking about like anchors and parenting and things like that. So they get in an argument and he leaves. She kicks him out. He calls his son the next day. He says, "Andrew, I want you to go with me. I'm not allowed to go to the house, but come to the hotel." So Tate goes to the hotel, and his dad takes him to another barber. And he says, "Hey, I want you to shave his head off." And Andrew says, "Well, Dad, I don't want to shave my head off." And the dad says, "Who cares? What you're going to learn is this is a life lesson. And as you get older, who gives a damn about your hair?" His dad was brutal.
Yeah,
His dad was kind of strong.
Yeah.
So it just goes to show, like, the guy, and again, I'm with you. I agree with the 85% of what this guy's talking about. But he had somewhat of a hard,
he had
upbringing. He quit being in a tournament when he was 6, 7 years old, chess, and then that's what got him into kickboxing.
Right.
So when the barber cut off his hair, and now he's still hairless, and he can grow back a full set of hair. That's the reason why he did it, was because he's like, man, who cares? It's about your confidence. It's about this. It's about that. And that's what again, I do believe in, is confidence is key, man. He talks about like depression and how guys will be emailing him and saying, "Hey man, I'm depressed." And he says, "Well, you won't be depressed if you go up into the gym for X amount of hours. You won't have time to be depressed. Then you feel better about yourself. You get your physiology going and your energy, et cetera, et cetera."
And
so it's
I
strong.
agree with that. Because I agree with that because, Earl Nightingale says, success is a progressive realization of a worthy ideal, right? So if we see progress in our business, right, I believe that we're the happiest. Some of the time that we're the happiest is when we're building and accomplishing, right? Even if it's you're building a tree house, you feel good seeing it come together, right? Because everything's created in the mind and in the physical. Same thing with your body. So he told that guy, right, if you start getting jacked and if you start getting a six-pack, you contact me as you're getting progress. And the guy started contacting and realizing, hey man, I don't feel as bad as I used to. But I think also something happens when, for example, when we were kids, in school, we didn't. Let's say, for example, me, I didn't pay attention. Oh, you know what? Juan Carlos, he's very distracted. He's a very distracted boy. What would they say now? ADHD or whatever, right? And they want to drug up. Right.
Labeling, drugging, getting them in worse situations than before. I believe in that too.
Yeah, bro.
Again, dude, they got sex
didn't exist
changes
before.
options. I mean, come on, man.
Now we're having to
Even
worry
grown-ups.
about if you want to sit down or stand up, take a piss, and what restroom you need to go into.
Yeah, bro.
That's all the shit that's happening. So and that part is where I agree where Andrew Tate says that we have to be men and strong men, and men that freaking take that power back, because now you're having a society that, well, what's a woman? What's a woman? Well, I saw an interview of this guy's. He goes, well, physically, when you're born, I was born a male. Yeah, but I identify as a woman. But you're a male. So there's a male and a woman. Now it's no, but it's what I identify. I go, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Where did this come from? Did we ever have this shit before? Like, no, you were born a fucking man and you wanted to be a woman. And or look like a woman.
Can you believe that this is controversial these days? There's men and there's women. 100 years before 5-10 years ago, this was never in the history of humankind. This was never controversial. Not only was it not controversial, it was like you were looked upon like you need to be in a mental hospital, bro.
Yeah.
You're not dumb. Yeah. You're crazy. There's something wrong up here. We went from that to like smart people, intellectually smart people, right? People that go to school, so they're smart because book smart people. Yeah. And I find that the more book smart people are, the more they go to school, the more they have these types of beliefs, the more they accept this kind of stuff. And I understand that this is controversial. Y'all knew we were going to talk about this shit here, okay?
Well, we know we're going to get into some shit.
I tell people all the time, for example, there's a couple beautiful cars outside. Let's talk about the e-tron because I like that car. There's an e-tron and then you take a 1990 Honda Civic. There's clearly a difference. Can we agree? Yep. There's an S550 out there, Dr. Lewis's car. There's a big difference between that car and the Honda Civic, right? There's more of a difference between a man and a woman. Yet people are saying and believing this bullshit of, here's the thing. I don't judge anybody. I don't care. You can tell me that you're a rabbit. I don't care if you, okay, hey, good for you, bro.
Congrats, rabbit.
Right, you're a rabbit, man.
Good for you,
doing
rabbit.
it for Halloween or, you think that you're a rabbit for the rest of your life? Oh, interesting. Good for you, bro. Right? I think that guy, is either drugs he's on or drugs he needs to be on, right? But here's the deal. Now they're saying, hey, man, and I believe that
you need to accept the rabbit.
Yes. It's also an attack on certain beliefs. Mm-hmm. For example, God, in the Bible, God says he made man and he made woman and it was good. Well, guess what these people are saying without saying it? No, God was wrong. Yeah. So, no, you say that you're a man, but you were born a woman, then you know what I'm saying? So anyways, it's so weird to even talk about it because and there's people that accept this. So
and even talking like you're worried about sharing those views because then what are they going to say about you? You're canceled. For me, listen,
like even you being in real estate?
Yeah, being in real estate.
So let's say you have an opinion. This is what's so tainted. Yeah. Thapa has an opinion, right? He gives his opinion. And now because he shares his legit opinion, the audience says, no, man.
Is that an acceptable opinion?
I ain't buying real estate from this dude. I ain't buying, selling, or investing in real estate because he believes something a little controversial. He should be a better man. And what society, in my opinion, they're so shell shocked about is that everybody has different opinions.
Yes.
So why cancel anybody? There could be a neo-Nazi out there at some point in time. Hey, publicize his ass because I want to know all of the horrible things he's talking about and how many rejected bodies will go against that. Because at some point in time, again, negative spreads faster than positive, but at some point in time, all of the followers too are going to be ironed out as well. Mm-hmm. I'd rather them be public. I don't want no undercover stuff going on. Yes. I don't want a guy walking into my office with an AK-47 and killing everybody because they're not public about their stuff. I want to hear all their views. Yeah. That way I know exactly who I'm dealing with. Yeah. So that's completely different.
And also the media right now is also taking a lot of the stuff. You were talking about men, women. You have, we grew up with comic books, superheroes. Right. And now you have shows like Batman where you have like a certain show in Gotham that I was watching back where I think the Penguin fell in love with the Riddler. When the fuck did that?
Wow.
When the fuck did that ever happen? And
it's an agenda being pushed.
Yeah, the agenda is being pushed, which I don't 100%. Agree with. Hey, let people have the freedom of choice. But when you're pushing it and pushing this in front of our kids, right now you have the son of Superman is gay.
Yep.
I'm like, where the fuck did we read that? Yes, this is on TV. This is what's being pushed to our children, and this is how they're growing up seeing. People say, oh, you can't influence that. Oh, yes, you can. If you put them in front of these people when they're not making, they're not conscious of those decisions they're making, they start accepting this stuff. Yep. It becomes influencing. It becomes normal. And I'm like, I have nothing against any. I accept. I don't judge. I take people for who they are as human beings. But also, I'm not in agreement where you're pushing this agenda because the people on Hollywood, all this are trying to push this agenda to our society.
Yes.
Like, when the fuck did we ever grow with this shit?
Right.
Now there has to be a gay scene in every single movie now.
You see, even in this group, like I'm sure the doctor's going to comment on this in a second. Like, I have relatives. I come from a big family as well, and I have relatives that are gay, lesbian, or they swing in a different direction.
Yeah.
And like I said, I think everybody should be able to make their own opinion.
Yep.
It's the only challenge that I have is, don't show my 13-year-old a certain thing when they're not grown enough to understand all the ins and outs behind it.
Yep.
And as a parent, of course, going back to parenting, I want to be able to foster independence versus have all these multiple salt and pepper people season my kid's mindset. Because we all know, all four of us, as a matter of fact, you can't be a prophet in your own land.
Right.
And at some point in time, they're going to be listening to somebody else, and it's very important that we shelter their mindsets at a point where they can now be independent. Let's call it 23 or 25. They can now be independent and now take counsel from somebody else or mentoring from somebody else, etc. So that's what the challenge is with me. Anybody can make any decision that they'd like to, but they should be conscious and grown up enough to make those opinions instead of being 12 years old and having the opportunity to have a sex change. That's unreal.
You know, Manny, all of you are saying so many powerful things. I think Socrates talked about this a long time ago. He talked about identity crisis, right? So we've talked about this a little bit before, where our identity is built between the ages of 2 and 6 because there's no filter from our conscious, subconscious. So whatever we put our kids in front of, that's what they believe, right? So they're, if we tell them that they're superstars, they believe they're superstars. If we tell them that they're handsome, they believe they're handsome. But nowadays, a 5-year-old on social media, and it's amazing how 5-year-olds can navigate through social media. 4-year-olds can navigate. They go through the emotion. There's a study that said that a 5-year-old can go through the emotion of a 30-year-old just by being on social media.
Wow.
You're on TikTok, and 1 minute, for an hour, they're watching happy TikToks, and they're watching sad TikToks, and they're watching bizarre TikTok. Where, I don't know your age, I'm probably the oldest one here, where for me to be sad, something really tragic would have to happen for me to be happy. So my emotions wouldn't sway. So this huge identity crisis, what we did, because everything begins within our home, right?
Yeah.
We homeschooled our kids.
Yeah.
Right. And we were judged about that. But I said, someone is going to influence our kids at a very pivotal time.
Yes.
Why not us? If someone's going to brainwash them, then I will brainwash them.
Yes.
Hell yeah.
And because now I wish, the Bible says we're going through signs of the times. I wish it would be, I'm a man, but I identify as a woman. Now I talk to teachers and they're like, no, if they identify as a cat, you must call them a feline. And I say, and what if you choose not to? You'll be fired. Yeah. So these kids come in making things up. And there is no judgment because it's really bad.
Right.
Yeah. But I'm thinking, where is the control and the leadership in the home, right? Where these kids are now believing that they're these things. It's not even man and woman. That would be a little easier. They've progressed to they identify to it's like
crazy.
It is. And
my 13-year-old's homeschooled too. So
that's what I mean.
Yeah.
And now we can't do anything because, like you guys were saying, society has become one in which I was talking to another teacher, and they were talking about, there was an unfortunate situation at a football game. My middle son plays; he's a varsity quarterback, and we had an unfortunate situation where there's an altercation, and unfortunately, there were some serious consequences that came out of it. But what happens is now, even in a school setting, you cannot separate kids unless you're the security.
What?
I said, one teacher said, I actually saw a kid get choked out. I said, I don't think I can allow myself to see a kid get beat up, choked out without pulling him off. No, that's considered assault. So me pulling a kid off as an adult is considered assault. Wow. So things are so gray. The Bible says, make your yeses mean yes and your no's mean no. Things are so gray now that it's created a tremendous challenge for people that want to raise a great, beautiful daughter or a strong young man.
Yep.
It's made it very difficult.
It's all done by design. It's an agenda. Even if, I mean, look at crime in blue states, for example. I hate to mention that, but I mean, we're going to. Look at crime here. There's people in Rodeo Drive having lunch in the middle of the day on a Wednesday.
That's insane.
Somebody pulls up on them, jacks them because there's no consequences to it. This is a leadership. This is by design. And most people are too damn asleep to realize this shit is being done by design. Kids are being attacked. You know, like in network marketing or any business, comp plan drives behavior, right? Well, these laws drive behavior too, right? So if they say, well, I could go and take this guy's $20,000 watch, and then if I get caught, they're going to just slap on the wrist and then boom, I'm out. So the risk to the reward ratio, it benefits them like crazy.
I just spent 2 hours in there and nothing's gonna happen.
And so people don't realize that's why I was talking to my wife. Matter of fact, yesterday, I said, honestly, I'm looking at Florida, and I have a rough game plan. 2-3 years from now, I'm probably going to end up out there anyways.
Yeah.
I'm getting things, you know, my ducks in a row. I'm getting things set up in Florida. And that's probably because even in public schools, like I'm a Christian man, even in public schools out there, which my son is not in public school, he's in a private Christian school. That's if not, we would homeschool him. But they teach him about the Bible, about man. They don't feed into none of this bullshit. So yeah, man. So I'm happy paying $1,000 a month for him to go there because, and thank God that I'm able to, right? Some people are not able to, and I understand that, right? That's also why I worried that shit up. And as an illegal immigrant, and you know my story very well, right? I went through a lot of struggles, and I always kept on this entrepreneur journey because I said, listen, if I quit this entrepreneur journey, the best that I'm gonna be able to achieve is this, which is not gonna be what I want to one day be my son's hero, right? Just 3 weeks ago, I asked my son, so what do you wanna do when you grow up, son? He says, I wanna sell solar, because I have a solar business. And I asked him, I asked him, why, son? And it was me, him, and my wife. And I said, why, son? And Alexander was asleep. And he says, because I wanna be like you, Daddy. Oh my God. And then Jennifer looks at me and says, don't cry. That's what's up, dog. And because he sees me train with him. I take him to the gym with me, put him in daycare while I work out. I get him out. I train him in the octagon, the UFC gym, and kids aren't supposed to train there, but they know me. I've been going there for years, so they let me, right? And people start to get around because they see him do jujitsu and like mixed martial arts, right? And so to me, that's what I wanted. I said before he was born, I said, one day I'm going to have a son, and his name is going to be Maximus, and I'm going to be his hero. Not a movie star, not an athlete, because I, like you, to your point, and to you guys' point, I want to influence him. I want to influence him right, teach him. The first and foremost is the Bible principles. We believe in that, right? Mm-hmm. And to think for yourself. So like sometimes when he sees people, like let's say, for example, I won't mention that subject, but when he sees things that he knows are not right, he kind of looks at me like, right? Like with a surprise look. And he says, they're confused. I say, yes, they are, son. But listen, there's all kinds of people out there in the world. We know our beliefs. We don't have to share those particular beliefs with everybody. If they ask us, we'll share them. You know, it's so weird that nowadays there's certain things that we never had to deal with as kids, man, that these kids have to deal with. And it's so unfortunate. But parents need to say, hey, man, I got to step up because listen, look at, for example, transgender. They're saying, hey, man, you could be a teenage boy and chop your wiener off, right? Or give them these, what is it called? To stop testosterone blockers.
Pills.
There's this kid that came out bawling, bro, because he says, I made a mistake.
Yeah.
Wow.
And he mentions, so he didn't chop it off, but he was taking testosterone blockers.
And
so he says that his penis doesn't grow anymore. So you imagine that when you become a man and you realize, as a kid, how come a kid can't smoke till they're 18, can't drink till they're 21, but you're going to let them do that shit? That is an attack. That is an evil attack. And parents are too fucking busy entertaining themselves and shit. Oh, here's an iPad, kid. Let me watch my phone and shit. Yep. That's fucking bullshit. Excuse my language.
Yep. JC, but what you're doing, right? It's hard. Mm-hmm. It takes a lot of intention. It takes a lot of time to do that. And here's the responsibility on the adults. I think a lot of the adults, including parents, are still trying to find themselves. So they're trying to find themselves as they're trying to raise somebody. Again, no judgment, just observation. Right. Mm-hmm. Like yourself and my family, I saw my parents work 35 years, and after everything, they had absolutely nothing to show for it.
Right.
Because they were employees. And if someone's watching this, nothing against employees. If that's what makes you feel exhilarated, if you find purpose in that, awesome. But I thought, I clearly remember going to, because my mom used to make curtains in like a sweatshop, this back in the day. And all the filaments would go into the air, but there was no exhaust system, right?
Oh, wow.
Right. So she would inhale it. So she developed something called bronchial asthma.
Yep.
So she'd have these cough attacks where her lips would turn blue. So she had to quit working. I remember walking into her job with her on her last day, and the secretary just gave her a white envelope with her last check. There was no recognition. 28 years.
Damn.
There was no recognition. There was no celebration. There was no gift. There was nothing. Mm-hmm. And as I'm like 8, 9 years old, and as we're walking out, I see a younger woman walking in.
Wow.
And in my mind, I thought, oh, okay, so my mom is quitting and you're beginning. And at a very young age, I said to myself, I won't be poor.
Yeah.
I will not be poor.
Right.
So, but it takes daily decisions to instill and to sow these thoughts into the kids. So when Fabian was 17, he graduated from Damien High School. And, we said, what college? Well, APU is my wife's alma mater. That's a great school. It's a Christian school. You'll go get your 4-year university. So he was accepted. And we're about to cut, it's $48,000 a year. We're about to cut the check for the first year. And he says, I want to give you guys a proposal. This is 3.5 years ago. And we're like, okay. So he sat down like a meeting. He says, when you guys are available, because I want your undivided attention. And he said, so I'm going to go to school for what? I said, you're going to get your degree. He says, right. And then I'm going to do what with my degree? And we're like,
oh, I love this kid.
Then you'll get a job.
I love this
And he's
kid.
like, and Dad, I've heard you on so many Zooms. I heard Mom say it so many times. That jobs is the biggest mistake we can make. Mm-hmm. And we're like, correct. He said, so you give me 2 years and you mentor me.
Woo.
And I'll go to the Arriaza University. And if I don't graduate in 2 years, I'll go back to school. No harm, no loss. Whether I get my bachelor's at 23 or 25, no one cares.
Oh, I love this
Wow.
And now he trades every morning from 5:30 to 8:30. He's at the gym from 9 to 11, and he loves his life.
Wow.
He's making more money than all his friends.
That's living on
in a
purpose.
short period of time. And he
living on
has a
purpose.
purpose.
That's right.
And now we have him training hundreds of people, hundreds of adults, and he lives with purpose. How many 21-year-olds wake up
Wow.
at 5:15 excited to wake up?
That only
because-
happens with a parent like that.
Yes.
You follow me?
Yeah.
He's seen a good example of,
Right.
I mean, it's exactly what we're talking about.
Yeah.
And, the whole podcast was about Tate.
Yeah.
And his beliefs. These are all in line with
Yes.
what he had
Yes, I
believed in.
agree.
So financially, like all 4 of us, we have the opportunity where we can send our kid
Yes.
to the right schools, or we can homeschool our kids. What about the people that cannot, though?
Right.
And that's part of the subject matter that he brings up, is that, hey, it does fucking matter that how much money you make.
Right.
It
Right.
does matter how much time you're putting in at the gym, or how you're fostering independence with your children.
Absolutely.
It does matter how on Instagram it talks about how females, we are not valued as men nowadays.
Right.
The reason why he says is because you can post up, a female can post up a filtered picture, even if you're large and in charge, doesn't matter. You're still going to get some DMs on men trying to hit it. And I got to get behind that. I was talking to my girl last night. I was talking to her, and we're talking about like Tate, and we're talking about this a couple nights ago, and we're talking about how what is her belief. And I literally played a video, and she's like smirking. I go, please tell me you don't get fucking 20, 30 DMs on a weekly. She goes, yeah, I guess, yeah, I do. And I said, so why is it why would it be that I get the DM versus another person? Well, just say it.
Exactly.
Okay, well, you're tall and you make money and you're this, you're that, you drive a supercar, blah. Everything that he's talking about, that's what he's talking about, high value men. And respect, just like you said, Doc, respect to people that have jobs out there. I had a job. Everybody here probably had a job before on a
fucking hate
W-2.
it.
It's sitting at a job. It's driving into traffic. It's living a quiet life of desperation. But at some point in time, you need to break out of the chains of habit and get a little bit dirty. And that's exactly what the guy talks about. And I got to get behind that, bro. I was like, shit, man, these people getting all these DMs and they only answer high value men. I got to get behind that. I got to be either I got to become a high value man or I got to stay in mediocrity and just deal with being medium, average, and ordinary.
And he was having that interview with that girl. He goes, you're not going to freaking go reply to the guy that is not a high value man, that weak, that's freaking... You know, crying, that's depressed, that's not going to the gym, that's not putting in work, that's broke. Like, you see a guy that's broke, you're not going to go there and reply to his DMs right away.
I mean, let's be real with the dude. If a girl has X, Y, and Z, a guy is like, yeah, I want to get a piece of that. If a guy has X, Y, and Z, a girl goes, I want to get a piece of that. I want to see what he's all about. I want to see this, that, the other. I mean, people that are listening to the podcast, they might go, man, what an ass. He's talking about that. I can't believe him.
It's true.
That's what Andrew...
I'm just coming out and telling you exactly what's what, you know?
Manny, you said something so powerful. One of my greatest quotes is by Ayn Rand, living life of quiet desperation, right? And so I never thought I would talk about this gentleman, but so we live in a hilltop. And it's 80 acres and there's 4 homes. And there's this one guy. His name's Arsenio. It's probably not his real name, but they call him Arsenio. He takes care of the entire hilltop. I hear him in my backyard at 5 o'clock in the morning. Then I'll see him through my gym window at about 9 o'clock somewhere else. This guy's passionate. He's on fire. He does everything, but that's his purpose. So to your point, if working at Walmart is your purpose, God bless you, right? Because we need that, right?
Exactly.
Not everyone's going to be a superstar entrepreneurial real estate agent. Not everyone's going to be a leader in podcast.
Right.
We need everyone as long as
100%.
But what you said, but most people, I'd say 80 to 85% of the people are not doing what fills their passion, and they're living lives of quiet desperation. And we are so indoctrinated. Hey, how you doing? Great. You're not great. You're suffering, right? You're feeling hopeless, right? And that's what you're saying, and maybe that's what Andrew Tate is saying also. Here you have a man who's on fire.
Yes.
I mean, passion comes from sincerity. He is being sincere with himself. Whether we agree or disagree, that's irrelevant.
Yeah.
The guy's on fire,
Right.
and that really intimidates most of our society because most of our society isn't.
Makes them uncomfortable.
I always compare that type of thinking in society to The Walking Dead. You see the show The Walking Dead, bunch of zombies running in crowds. They're dead in their mind, meaning their ambitions are gone, their goals are gone. They don't know. They're just following the crowd. They're just going with the noise. They hear noise and they go out there and they're just they're fighting each other for scraps, right? And then you have these people that are trying to survive and get through these damn zombies, and they're trying to pull them up and convert them, you know? And that society there's a lot of Walking Dead society right now. They're walking around with no goals, no ambitions. So you hear a guy that has the goals, the ambition, that's pushing, and that turns them off because they're used to walking with this crowd of zombies. And I think that's another reason why is that because is this guy talking about I should be comfortable with barely making it or have given up on my goals and haven't given up on my ambitions. Who the hell is this guy? What the hell is he talking about, right? So that's why I always compare the society to The Walking Dead show.
Dude, Tate talks about all of that, bro.
Yeah, he does.
I gotta tell you, like my buddy Patrick, it's no secret, my boy PBD, he has a great podcast, Valuetainment, and he interviewed Tate for almost 5 hours.
I know.
And I was texting Pat. I was like, dog, this dude's on to something, man.
It's true.
And you know, Pat's very like neutral. He's like, yes, he does. You know. So when I started listening to him, because you know that's such a long podcast, it took me 2 weeks just to listen to it. And everything that he's spitting game on, I was like, damn, I do the same thing. Damn, I feel the same way. Damn, that's totally correct. You know, so everything that the guy represents is a little bit controversial, but it's only controversial to the people that are a little bit of, not even a little, they're hating on the dude. And escalating to one of these high value men is not an easy task You got to be at the gym. You got to be reading more than
Right.
everybody else. You got to be very competitive. You got to be making some money. Yada 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 yada. So it's just the haters that are really rejecting the concept.
But look what we have now leading the country.
Right.
Would you take what you have now? Would you take somebody like Andrew Tate?
Yeah.
Let's be honest. We'll take a poll.
I think just about anybody else other than personally than what we've got now, man. Hey, listen,
look at
everything
we
rises
shit.
and falls on leadership, man. Look at the gas price, look at the economy, look at everything. Listen, I'm not the biggest fan of the guy before, but all I do is I look at policies and I look at results. The results are in the pudding. But to go back to what you were mentioning earlier about men, because we've got men here. I believe 2 of us are married, and are you guys single or what's the deal?
Yeah.
Single. Okay, got it. So 2 single guys. That's why we put them on the couch.
Usually the married men are on the couch.
That's true, right? That's true. No, but to your point, right, about a high, one of the things that Tate talks about, and they also talk about in the Fresh and Fit podcast, they say women just are, men have to become. If a woman, for example, let's say I'm just a dude, regular guy, hasn't achieved anything yet, and I post a video educating people on finances or solar or whatever. A woman that's an attractive woman does the exact same video.
Oh,
not as good of a job as me. She's going to get 5 to 10 times more likes and views than I will.
100%.
And she's going to have automatically a lot more views. Because women, especially those that they don't have to be attractive. They just have to be semi-attractive. Just in general, they're going to get more. A man is invisible until he becomes. Now, here's the thing. I think there's inequality for men and there's
Not even
inequality
if
for
he
women.
becomes. That's what sucks. Not even if he becomes.
Yeah. That's why you got to become the high value man.
Bro,
to
I
your
got
point you were making.
25,000 followers on Instagram, right? One of my agents, she has like maybe 5,000. I'm like, hey,
yeah.
I'm not gonna say her name, but how many views did you get on that finance post? Like 1,200, 1,300. Dog, I have mad value on my views. I'm like, man, I know more about financial services than anybody. I got tons of followers, right? I post something on my story. I get anywhere between 300 to 400 views.
Yes.
And this girl's getting 12 to
Yes.
1,300, and she got less followers. Absolutely 300% because she's hot
Yep.
and she gets a lot of publication.
100%. That's why a man, to the men that are watching this, right? You got to get your act together, man. We realized early on, right?
Yeah.
Men, you got to get your act together. When you go to a restaurant, you find out menu pay. Does that make sense? Like you got to get your act together. No finance, no romance,
I'ma
right?
steal
No
that
money,
one.
no
I'ma steal that
honey.
one too.
Yeah, right. No,
Men-
think about
men
it,
you
man.
pay.
Matter of fact, here's a funny story.
Men, you pay.
Exactly. Here's a funny story. I remember one time
First time I hear that one.
I went on a date, right? Tapatio was involved in this one. I get to
Tapatio?
We didn't go on a date.
No.
Tapatio is your.
That's my nickname.
His nickname.
That's how they know me.
Jose
is my
Tapatio Perez.
Yeah.
Okay.
Everyone knows-
So
he
I
used
call him
to
Tapa.
back in the days. He used to look like the guy in the Tapatio bottle.
Yeah. Now I look like the 1 liter one.
So check this out. I go on a date with this girl that by the way, he was after it, I was after it, and I ended up, going on a date with her, right? But then that
He was
happened
a more high value man than me at that time.
right, exactly. Right. See, that's where the high value guy
It's true.
No, so we're on this date though, and then I realized, oh snap, I don't have enough money. We went to Olive Garden in Downey, bro. Olive Garden. And I realized, because we went somewhere else, and somehow I didn't have plans to go to dinner. Somehow we had to leave that place early. Then we ended up at dinner, and she's like, "You want to just keep hanging out? You want to go to dinner?" Something along those lines. I said, "Sure," and I said, "Sure," without realizing, damn it, I don't have enough money. So I called my buddy Tapatio. He lived in South Central at the time. This is in Downey. That's quite a distance, right? It's at least a 30-minute drive without traffic. At least. This dude came through, drove to the Olive Garden, dropped off a $100 bill, and I was able to pay. I was in the restroom and stuff, sweating bullets. And he's like, "Bro, I can't make it right now. What time do you need me?" I'm here right now, bro.
That's 'cause
You got to
we
make it
boys.
before the bill.
That's because we're boys.
Because we're boys. So
And he also liked the girl.
he did like the girl too,
That's
and
a
he's
good friend
still
right there.
that's a good friend.
That's a good friend right
Yeah,
now.
that's a good
boys right
friend.
there, yeah.
So, anyways,
Hey, when you lose, you lose. You gotta help your boy, that guy.
that's
Yeah,
right,
that's
huh?
right.
He
One
also-
of us has to win.
It's
You
a
know,
win for both of us.
That's right.
On that note, going back to the base point, Tate also talks about equality. And what was really controversial, what he said was that men and women are not equal.
It's true.
And it's 100. Am I talking about the blue elephant in the room? Come on, man.
Yeah,
Men
yeah,
and women are not equal.
Right.
No, we're equal. We should have the same this, the same. No problem. Pay for dinner.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna take your ass to dinner, and I'm gonna drive, and you could pay. That's not a manly thing to do.
Right.
All of a sudden, oh well, I thought
No
we were
second
equal.
date. No second
I
date.
thought we were equal.
Right.
People dying in Ukraine right now, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm,
God bless them, but majority of them men go, hey. I got this. I'm staying in the trenches. I'm fighting the battle. I'm going to be holding a machine
Yes,
gun.
yes.
I want you to grab you and the children and get out of town.
Yes.
Who stood behind? Was a woman? Well, we're equal. I'm going to grab a gun
it's
and I'm going to
true.
fight
I
with
agree.
you. No, that's just not happening nowadays. So what's so controversial is like stating the obvious. Like
Right.
men and women are not equal, ladies
They're
and gentlemen.
different.
Controversy. We
Yes.
have testosterone. We're bigger. We're not supposed to do certain things. The same thing applies for protection, though. If I'm out with a woman and I'm at the street down the street, I'm in South Central or freaking Diamond Bar, Beverly Hills, doesn't really matter. I'm willing to die on the street for my woman.
Right.
Is a woman going, hey, we're equal. We're going to stand in this battle together? No. Get out of the way. Go run. Go get a police
Well, you
officer or
start-
something like that. You get a police officer. What happens? You're going to get a police officer that is in the form of masculinity. They're coming on and they're fighting the fight with you because they're a man
Yes.
majority of the time, and they're fighting that battle for the woman. So men and
Yes.
women are not equal. Sorry to shock you guys, but that's just not the way
For
it's gonna
example,
go.
Well, you're
For example-
starting to see it now with, the whole transgender situation that's
Yeah.
happening. The swimmer.
Right.
Women are not liking that.
Right.
I don't agree with it
I
either.
don't- Yeah, me neither.
What happened with the fighter?
Right.
Transgender.
Yep.
He's
It's
a male.
it's the
Born
same
It's
shit.
not
male.
the same.
Going into a woman's sport.
It's the same
How
shit,
you gonna
though.
say that it's equal?
Right.
There you go. Women
the
and men are
same
equal.
shit.
No, they're not.
And listen, just to be clear, right? The man and the woman, they both serve their role. We're not equal. There's a lot of areas where women are much better at men. For example, Tate mentions this, and I agree with this. I would much rather, if I were to put my kids in daycare, which they've never been in daycare, I'm fortunate that
Female.
it's been my wife, my mom, and my mother-in-law that's ever taken care of my kid, with the exception of one time, my wife's friend took care of him for 2 hours. He's 8. He's never had anybody out, with one exception. I would rather drop him off if I had to in an all-women daycare than an all-men daycare, right? Because women are better at taking care of children. My wife is
Motherly.
better at taking care of my kids than I am.
They're motherly.
right? They're
Absolutely.
motherly. So we're not equal to them. They're superior to us. So there's areas that we're superior. There's areas that they're superior, right?
Oh, yeah.
But for example, 4 months ago, the alarm goes off in the middle of the night in my house. The only reason why the alarm would go off in the middle of the night is somebody broke into the house or some crap. You know what I mean? That's what an alarm is for. Soon as that alarm goes off, it's the middle of the night. It's pitch black. I wake up. I'm not even groggy because I wake up because my son is in the other room. Our baby is right here. My wife is here. I jump over my wife. I don't even know how I did it. Like if I tried to do it right now, I wouldn't be able to do it. But somehow, with my 2 hands, she's here. I jump over her to the other side, and I run over to what I think is I'm going to run into some other, what. What happened is that we left the back door open without the lock. So a little bit of wind hit it, and it did this. So the sensor went off. So I go there, and I check the house, make sure nobody's in my doggone house, right? Would I expect my wife to do
Hell
that?
no.
Absolutely not.
Exactly.
If I have to show up there to the living room or the kitchen or whatever the case may be, and there's a crazy drugged up dude with a knife or a gun, I literally have no fear. Because now, if I was by myself, I would have more fear. But because I'm there to protect my family, I got no fear, and I'm willing to die right there for them. I don't expect this equality bullshit to kick in here. Hey, babe, you know what I'm talking about? CNN is talking about equality. You want to take this one?
Go get.
Yo, I'm tired.
check
Go
that
on.
You're in. No.
Go on, check me downstairs, babe. I'm asleep right now.
Exactly,
Yeah,
right?
Go check that out, baby.
Yeah, so
I think what you're saying is so I think we have to. I mean, I am like yourself. I am married to a spectacular woman. Been married for 25 years.
Me too.
Awesome.
My wife is unbelievable.
Yes.
Right. And I admire her for what she does, and she does so many things. In the reference to equality, if we're referring to physical equality,
Yes.
that's obvious.
Right.
I mean, if you get a 20-year-old. Your example is perfect. Yeah. The guy who all of a sudden wants to be considered a woman, but he's like, the women are like this and he's like this.
Right.
I mean, it's just, I mean, you're
Exactly.
you're gonna be
100%.
physically stronger. If you go on bench, and there's no, I don't know, maybe there are, but usually there's the guys putting up 3-4 plays. There's not a woman. It's just, and you don't expect that either. Sure. It's like women don't have any interest, at least most of them, in putting up 300-400 pounds on a bench press. That's not what they're into. Guys do, right?
Yes.
But in reference to other aspects, right, we're not. In they're superior.
100%.
I'll tell you I've had many offices. Women are simply more organized. I mean, from an organizational perspective,
I agree.
Women are nurturers. I'm not making a generalization. I'm saying on average, if I have 100 women and 100 men, there's going to be more women that are more nurturing than men.
100%.
When we have a long day, we come home. I'll be honest with you. There are times that I know we're both tired, but my wife has that innate thing to hey, I'm gonna go and feed the kids, and I know she's tired.
Yes,
but she has that innate thing.
Right.
When our alarm goes off.
Yep.
I have my friend Smith & Wesson right next to me. I get it, and we already have the thing, right?
Yes.
My wife will look at the alarm to see what door, and I'm already walking out because my mom's there, my kids are there.
Yes.
I'm walking out, and like you said, if I would be by myself, I may not walk out.
Right,
That's a great point. But I'm not thinking about myself.
Right.
So, and I can just imagine, honey, why don't you go and check it out? No, it'd be crazy, right? It'd be crazy. So there's equality and inequality, but it really depends what it is that we're talking about. But I personally also believe that men and maybe even fathers haven't fulfilled their roles sometimes. So it's forced women to be the mom and dad. I've coached many kids, Pop Warner football, and I can't tell you how many single mothers that I leave emotional because of the stories. And I'm like, kid, when's that? He hasn't called me in a year. I'm like, damn. So you know what I mean? We gotta look at sometimes. Yeah, exactly. True. Exactly. Yeah.
Oh, I agree. There's some deadbeat fathers out there.
This is a high value man. You got to be responsible for.
I'd really like you three. I'd really like your opinion because this is a good mix. There's two married guys and there's one single dude. What is your
one single, two?
Two single guys.
He left himself out of it. Yeah.
It's complicated.
Right.
Describe your version of a high value woman. I don't think a lot of people talk about high value women enough. Like, what is your version of a high value woman? Because Tate talks about a high value man.
Yes.
And he gives all the parameters behind being a high value man. I'm vacillating, of course, so that you guys can think about the answer. But what is your version of a high value woman? And I'd like to hear about it because I got some two happily married men, and 95% of my friends are happily married.
Yeah.
They're not cheaters. They're not. They don't have horrible habits or anything like that. Right. They're absolute happily married men. That's a great association. Yes. That's why I like being associated with them. So, what is your version of a high value woman?
Well, so since you pointed at me, I'll go first. I was going to let the dog go first. So, well, my woman is definitely a high value woman, and I know that Dr. Lewis's wife is as well. And so I'll mention a couple of things, not to say that these are the only things, right? Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. For me, my woman is a high value woman because when I met her, she used to sell alarms door to door. She was also a waitress at a casino. Mind you, when I started dating my wife, she was 23. She was young.
Which I'm responsible.
That's right. Actually, Jose is the one that set us up.
$100 on this.
Hey, man, he's the man
right here. He's the man right here, man. He's the man. So I
can do it for others, not for myself.
I know, right? So no, but what happened is that, and we started dating. We had a rough patch in the beginning because we were both immature. Again, she was 23. I'm 7 years older. I was 30. But ever since she became a mom, we made a decision, okay, great. We're together. We're a couple. We have a child to raise, right? We were not married yet. We kind of did things a little bit backwards. So she showed from a very early age, ever since our son was born, that she was an incredible mother. Mm-hmm. She took care of him. I have no concerns at all with my children being there for her. Mm-hmm. And I was making a lot of money. I was worth 7 figures, and I lost a lot of money. Jose remembers this. I lost a lot of money. I went down to like the worst financial situation that I had been in 15 years. And I had a conversation with her. It was like 9 p.m. Our son was asleep. I said, come to the living room. I need to talk to you about something. So she goes to the living room. I say, here's what happened. Here's what happened. Here in the crypto crash, we lost over $1 million and blah, 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 blah. Just like Murphy's Law, right? Anything that could go wrong went wrong. And I said, so long story short, I'm going to need you to help financially temporarily. She says to me, okay. Mind you, she had never worked since we had been together. This is 2018. She had never worked since we had been together. She goes door knocking, which is what she used to do. She made $8,000 her first month door knocking straight up. Just worried that shit up. Grand. Went door knocking. Then I remember saying, hey, listen, while I get my solar business up and running, I'm going to go with you. So you teach me. So I shadowed her for a day and a half. Now we would go, she'd get one side of the street, I'd get the other side of the street, and we'd go closing deals.
What year was this?
This is 2018.
Wow.
2018, bro.
So high value woman, ride or die.
Ride or die. Wow. Ride or die.
Number one.
Number one.
I totally agree with that.
Right. Takes care of the kids. Number one. Cooks amazing. Takes care of me. When we were in a financial struggle, she didn't say, I'm going to kick you to the curb. She says, okay, let's do it. She used to go with her boss in her office, the whole van program, to like, what is it called over there? Palmdale and Palm Desert. All day. And not only that, over there it gets cold, right? Yeah. She'd get home like around 10. Hey, but I got 3 deals. Straight up. That to me is a high, that's my version, right? There's a lot of different versions though, right? Women that get their act together. I think to me,
What's yours? Ride or die, number one.
Ride or die, number one. Okay. And it's also, the fact that she takes care of the children. She puts the children before she puts herself, right? To me, she's very selfless in that sense. And I really appreciate that. But, of course, there's also the version of the woman that takes care of business.
High value woman. Number 2, selfless.
Selfless, yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So
nurturing mother, right?
Virtuous mother,
That's great.
yes.
No, the ride or die also, yes. Going through 11 years. 11 years ago, we lost everything. Everything. I mean, we had never, ever gone through this type of financial crisis. Lost everything. Never, ever did my wife ever falter or skip a beat, ever. It was like, wow, it is what it is. Let's keep moving. So ride or die is 1. 2, in my particular situation, was when I was 19. I remember I was in anatomy class, and we were dissecting a cadaver. His name was Thomas, big guy, and there were these 2 twins, Evelyn and Emery, and they said, "What do you want, like in your wife?" I was 19 years old. I met my wife when I was 24, and we got married when I was 27. And I said, I would love a virtuous woman. And my wife loves God more than she loves me. Yes. And as long as she loves God more than she loves me, I know she'll always do the right thing. Even if it means, even if it challenges me, because I would rather her do the right thing, even if it challenges me, because the right thing is the right thing to do all the time. Regardless. And that's how she lives. This woman is a woman of integrity. Like, everyone says things that they shouldn't say. Men lie, women lie. I've been with my wife for 28 years, and I've never, ever caught her in a lie.
Wow.
Ever. So for me is ride or die, and in our family, in our culture, in our relationship, I value the fact that she loves God more than she loves me.
Yes, I love that.
Yeah, virtuous.
That's awesome.
And I'll add to that, to what he said too, is this. Yes, the number one thing is a relationship with the Creator.
Yeah.
Right, loving God and putting God first. That's why our son is in Bible study. I mean, in a Christian school. That's why we attend Bible study once a week. And so it's not to say that we don't have problems. We certainly do, but nothing like what it would be. Before we got close to God, our relationship wasn't nearly, you remember, bro, wasn't nearly what it is now.
I would say both of you guys, just by listening to you guys, it would be emotional strength as well. I mean, that'll rattle somebody.
Manny, my mentor, when when I met him, my wife and I had just started dating. So he was with us. He's actually my oldest son, godfather. And when, I said, okay, this is the woman I want to date. He did something to both of us, with both of us. It was very, very unique. And I share this all the time. We did a value inventory, right? So he put me in one room, my wife in another room, and he said, okay, give me your 5 highest values. Give me your 5 core values.
What do you bring?
And I said, okay, God, family, my work, adventure, and then I went on. And he said, okay, and he did the same thing for Velia. And she says, God, my family, our ambition. And so he says it's important that at least 4 of those 5 match, because when you go through challenging times, and you will, you will all go back to your core values.
Wow.
So another aspect that I value tremendously is my wife's a hustler. My wife is a hustler. Like, Tupac, she can make $1 out of 15 cents in a heartbeat. And I love that because I'm a hustler, right? And I see men and women, but I see couples where one's a massive hustler and the other one isn't. And I see the strain because it's a different philosophy.
Yeah.
See, my wife is a hustler in a positive way, hustler.
Yes.
So when we're hustling, when we're doing business, when we're traveling, 5-6 years ago, I was gone 46 weekends out of the year.
Damn.
There was never, how about that? No, it's part of the hustle. We know this is what we have to do because this is what we're creating. So that's very valuable. Someone that is aligned with your higher purpose.
I'm learning. I'm learning from you guys.
Hey, do you have sisters?
I know, right? The sister's too young for you, bro. So,
and ours are too old, way too old.
No, but check this out.
maybe
That's it.
Maybe I went to the next generation.
Why go looking if it's right here, right?
Exactly, right? You got to work through your network, bro.
Success leaves clues, bro. Success leaves clues.
You're running around the block to get next door, bro.
Exactly, bro. Exactly, man. No, that's funny.
Man, thank you guys for sharing that to us.
I'm learning.
Yeah, listen, I think we're all learning, man, in different areas. Absolutely. So I do want us to watch 2 short clips. And I want us to give our take on these 2 clips, and we're almost done wrapping up.
Cobra, might I interject that if women were truly happy doing that for so long, maybe this whole women's lib thing, how did that come about?
That's a psyop from the New World Order. They're deliberately trying to turn women against men. They have to divide the peasants. That's the only way the elites can retain control. They turn the blacks against the whites, the Democrats against the Republicans, the women against the men. It's all a psyop, and they do it purposefully. Listen, a revolution is nothing more than men standing in one place and saying this shit has to change. The reason there's no revolution, despite the absolute tyranny we experience here in the Western world, is because most men aren't allowed out the house because their wife will get mad at them. You have to be home at 10 o'clock. Bro, if you had to fight 100 fucking cats, right? You'd probably get through it, but it'd be a bit messy. The first thing you want to do is turn
100? Fuck.
Yeah, well,
100 what?
I take 100 cats easy.
Yeah.
Snap their necks like fucking Rambo. Point is, you'd want to turn all the white cats against the fucking yellow cats. First. Start civil war first. Let's get them uneasy. We don't working together on me now. Let's man. Well, you're Democrat, you're Republican. You're black, you're white, you're brown. You're gay, you're straight. You're a man, you're a woman. You're this, you're that, you're this, you're that. And then everyone's going to sit there and fucking argue all day. And they're going to sit at the top laughing. There's more of us than there is of them. But they don't think that. They're very, very smart. It's divisive on purpose.
How do they get that smart?
It's because it's age old, bro. This shit's been around for a very long time.
So it's just families that have learned along the way?
It's not just families. It's just age old. If you look at how...
But that's like really smart shit.
Look at how England conquered India. England conquered India with less than 100,000 troops. There was millions of Indians. And the supply line is 9 months long. How do you do it? You turn up. You turn one team against another team, one family against another family, one tribe against another tribe. Arm one side. They start winning. Oh, shit, we need to take some power back. Arm the other side. Do. It's basic foreign policy. And it's internal policy. It's basic. It's how it's always been. And then before you know it, who runs India? The British. That's how you do it, right? It's how America does most of foreign policy today.
So what I want us to address is the division that he mentions, right? How I see a lot more division. This is the United States of America. That name doesn't apply right now, in my opinion, right? I love your guys' opinion. What do you guys think of do you guys see a division happening? The left versus the right, men, versus women, black and white, et cetera, et cetera?
I think more women are trying to be more like men, and more men are trying to be like women.
Yeah, I
It's
agree
just
with
crazy
that, yeah.
right now. And it used to be where it's the man and the support with the woman doesn't mean your woman is less. It's just that you guys are supporting each other in a common goal.
Yeah.
And now we're seeing that a lot of the relationships get divided too because the woman's trying to take that man role and not wanting to support that. You know what I mean? Nothing wrong with them wanting to get ahead. It's fully okay, but is that what we're talking about? The division in that
division
aspect?
in general, right?
Yeah.
So that kind of division, also like the left versus the right and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Right now we're more divided than ever before. One of the times that we were the most united was after 9/11.
Yeah.
9/11, everybody was united, right? But right now people are divided. So what do you guys make of this division that's happening, and what can we do about it?
I mean, I'm not a conspiracy theorist. That's just not my nature. But if it quacks like a duck, it's a duck. So, I mean, Tate, what he's talking about, it may make sense, it may not make sense. And keep in mind, this guy's an international guy.
Yeah.
So he does travel to different countries. Whereas us here in America, we're in a box. And even here you see the left battling with the right. I mean, how is it even freaking possible? You have 335 million people here in the United States, and we legitimately have 2 options for president. Already the system's twisted. Already. You got liberals on the left that believe in pretty much socialism, where hey, let's hand out everybody candies. That obviously has just not historically worked.
Right.
Look at taxes. I mean, I run a financial firm, so I talk about this all day long. Historically speaking, when you raise taxes, that has never brought in more taxes for the government. I don't know if you guys know that or not.
Right.
When you lower taxes, that has always historically brought in more tax revenue. Shockingly to say. So when a conservative or a Republican gets out there and they share their views of capitalism and create more businesses to create more jobs, me personally, I think that's pretty commonsensical. I mean, I'm about as sharp as a round table, but I got a lot of common sense, and I just
very
don't
sharp,
understand.
bro.
You know what I'm saying? So, everybody has different views. Now, what we just got done talking about, which is being a victim, I would say, unfortunately, my family always grew up Democrat, liberal. And if I were to ever ask my mom why, she'd say, we're poor, that's why we're liberal. That's why we're Democrat. Democrats give to the poor. It's kind of like Robin Hood, right?
Right.
And in my thinking, I was like, shit, man. Now thinking back, my boy PBD says, well, I want to be a Republican real quick then.
Yes.
I want to make some money, right?
They want to keep our people in poverty.
Yeah, but for me
handouts.
now, I think that's dumb. Like, I grew up on food stamps. My mom had food stamps. We'd walk in the market, and hey, it was a regular thing. But going back to politics, left versus right, if you don't have the proper, that's why dynasties have always failed. They fight amongst themselves. And this is a dangerous slope right now. You got a Russian leader that doesn't have to get reelected every 4 years. You got a China leader doesn't have to get reelected every year. They're in it for the long game.
Yeah.
And that makes me concerned. My son's in the Navy. He's in Japan right now on the Ronald Reagan. And I think to myself, shit, man, China goes to war. My son's first to act. I don't know. Wait until March until my son's out. So, it gets me concerned about this stuff. So I look into different things. I go down a little rabbit hole. I don't want to Netflix and chill. I want to actually look into proper publication.
Yes.
So, conspiracy theory, I don't think so, but battles amongst each other, absolutely yes. And it's spread more now more than ever because, again, social media has been around for over a decade and it's here to stay. So people need to be very cautious of what they put their minds onto.
I also think a lot of what's happening too, to me, something that was very telling recently I heard is the World Economic Forum. There's a lot of predictions. I don't know if you guys noticed some of the predictions that they're making. One of them is that by 2030, America's not going to be the world superpower. The other one is they say by 2030, you'll own nothing and be happy. This is a World Economic Forum.
Yep.
It's very public.
You says you'll own nothing.
Nothing.
Yep.
And
They want to
be happy.
divest everybody of their ownership.
Yes. Oh, yeah. This is now. Notice that nowadays there's World Everything, World Health Organization, World Economic Forum, the United Nations. Interestingly enough, for those of you guys into biblical prophecies, if you notice a gift that was given from Mexico to the United Nations, look at that big old statue that was given. It has feet of a bear, mouth of a lion, you know, exactly the way that the Bible talks about. It's I'll send you guys all a clip. It's if nothing else, it's extremely interesting and very big coincidence, right? So, but I do see that there's this divide.
I believe that on the United States not being the superpower.
Yeah.
China has already been buying up the United States under us. I don't know if you guys know, but there's a lot of foreign money that's came here and they're buying our land.
Yes.
The Chinese are buying our land and they're allowing them to do so.
Yep.
Just for example, there was a lot of new construction that was being built. A lot, of course, they have to buy real estate here to get their visas done a little faster. Mm-hmm. And a lot of the new construction that was purchased by Chinese, and their houses are there empty, and they're just buying them just so they could get their visa come over. But they own a lot of land. They've been buying up a lot of land for many years, the last 5 to 10 years. So I do believe that the United States is not going to be the superpower in a few years from now.
Yeah.
I don't know. I disagree.
You think so?
I don't know what you think, Doc. I disagree with the 2030 factor. China's in a bubble, a huge real estate bubble right now. They just got caught in their own Ponzi scheme with their hand in the cookie jar. So I don't believe in that.
You don't think that China is going to be more powerful?
No, I don't. I think India, who is our ally, would probably take over, and it would be past 2030. But the bigger factor is what we do with our money. I mean, we're still the superpower. So right now, but bonds are big because
but we're printing money like a freaking crazy rate. Money
doesn't matter.
Shit right now.
Doesn't matter. Everyone else is still on the dollar, and everyone else is still feeding money into our government. So we're actually in a good position. It's social media. It's you guys are listening to the same social media.
What would you say to the debt that we have with China and all these other countries?
Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Even
you
inflation.
Feel that we're going to be the superpower.
Even with inflation, our U.S. debt is at 31 trillion. With inflation, that lowers, it diminishes the responsibility of the 31 trillion, the value of the 31 trillion. So
he's a financial guy. That's the way we brought him up.
So I will give you a fact to chew on though. By the year 2030, most of our wealth here in the United States, 70% of it, by the way, will be held by women, by females.
What?
That's a fact.
Really?
Yeah, by 2030.
I believe that.
Yeah.
Wow.
No, it's a fact. If you Google it, you'll
Is that
come up
because
with
all
a
the
fact.
divorce rates are?
No. It's because of longevity.
I'm kidding.
It's because of longevity of life. Women live longer than men.
True.
Yeah.
So they're outliving
That
their
is true.
spouses, and they will inevitably inherit.
That makes
Yeah.
sense.
And
That
our
does make
inheritance is over 70 trillion of wealth that's being passed down from one generation to the next. So 70% of that by 2030 will be held by females, women. Mm-hmm. So if you think that this woman's lib thing is over, let me tell you something. It's just started. So Tate's onto something, and for men to continue to be high value men, you need to continue to grow in the noggin, in the head. So you know, with much power comes great responsibility. So we gotta be not pushing our women down. I don't believe in that.
Absolutely.
But I do believe that we need to be more team oriented. Travel by yourself, you'll go fast. Travel with the team, you go far. So we all know that.
He's smart because he has a majority of women in your office. Too,
I
right?
do, yes.
You know, the question that she posed about the feminist movement, right? I think it's all like what the intention is, right? Like here, us.
Yes.
Our intention is to provide some education, provide perspective, right? Maybe some opinions, but not to negate or downput anybody. It's just to provide a different perspective on some topics that people are talking about. That's it.
Yes.
So I'm part of what's called the Promise Keepers, right? Promise Keepers was started by the Colorado coach, University of Colorado's. He started this movement because football team, because this was like 35 years ago, because he noticed that every time a kid would score a touchdown and they put the camera on him, what would he say? Hi, Mom.
Yes.
Hey, Grandma. So he started talking to his kids, and he's like, to his team, he's like, well, where's your dad? Oh, and here comes the story. Oh, I was raised by my mom. I was raised by my
Yep.
grandma. So he said, well, God is a promise maker. Men are the promise keepers. Women are the promise reapers. And kids are the promise seekers. So he said, we're going to create something, a movement that now it's world. These seminars go throughout the world. The one I went to, I've been to like 2 or 3. There were 80,000 men at the LA Coliseum.
Wow, that's awesome.
And I took my brother. My brother was a cop. He had just graduated from the academy. So he was very like, you're either bad or you're good. That's it, right? That dangerous spot. And I love him. And so but the whole message, it's a 2-day message. The whole message is how to be a better leader in the home, how to be a better husband to your wife, how to be a better father to. It's not how to be like how to be this strong man despite no. It's contributing, right? So I think that we have to acknowledge some of these movements because some of these movements are not, the intention is not correct.
Yes.
Right. And that's what creates the divide and conquer situation, right? Where the
right.
intention is wrong.
Yes.
If women are gathering together because they want to build themselves as women so they can be entrepreneurs, so they can be great wives, phenomenal. My wife, I'm sorry if I talk too much about my wife.
Not at all.
No, by all means.
My wife goes out with her girlfriends once a month, and she goes out and they go to dinners and they'll have their drinks and they talk. They've been friends since they were 5 years old.
Wow.
More than 40 years.
That's cool.
I love that. I love the community. I'm never sitting at home thinking, oh, what are they talking about? That's the further. It's not even a part of my thought process.
Right.
I love that because I know their intention.
That's right.
It's all based on
awesome.
intention.
My wife does that with her friends as well. Probably once a month, once every 45 days. And I
You don't
encourage
call
it.
us, bro.
Yeah, no, exactly. I do.
He doesn't do it once a month.
Next time.
I don't. You're right.
Get a little,
Well, I'll tell you guys what.
Get a little poker game at home.
Hey, why don't we schedule a little poker game or something like that?
There you
We're
go.
gonna check. We're going to talk about this after the
My house
podcast.
first.
And hey, listen, his house is beautiful. I'll take that offer any day, man. We'll take Jay too, man.
There you go.
Hey, shout out to our boy here. That's
Jay at Big
good job.
Cartel, man. He's a man. By the way, you guys get Jay is also coming out on podcast with me. We do episodes, him and I, and stuff like that. So it's just very cool to do that.
Thank you.
I like the way you put it though. It's true with the intention of that movement. I think that goes a long way.
Yeah.
And the intention is not to diminish any
No.
other roles, to empower that role.
Exactly.
Which I agree with.
I agree with
that.
All right, so gentlemen, I love any parting thoughts, whether it's on some of the subjects that we talked about here. We also have a lot of entrepreneurs that watch the podcast. So whether you want to address giving somebody advice on business, right? I know that we did this individually when we all shut the podcast, but all of you guys have a lot of wisdom, a lot of knowledge that you could give somebody. So what are some parting thoughts, Manny?
I'll take my Tate glasses off.
There you go.
There you go.
I think discussion is really powerful. And I think that whatever Tate believes, whatever you believe, whatever all of us believe, it's just that. It's our opinions. So I always say to my guys, my reps, don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. Meaning if you're on a good path, 80% of what you're doing right now is in the proper direction. You have goals and dreams and you're on your journey to accomplishing these goals and dreams. That's terrific. But along that path to getting to the destination are certain course corrections, left, right, straight, etc. The most prominent sales in the gym industry is in January. I wonder why. Because everybody's trying to get back in shape. They're doing their New Year's resolutions, things of that nature. Same thing goes with business, though. Just know that you don't have to wait until January 1st to press the reset button.
That's right.
If it's November 2nd, you can press the reset button of your life at any point in time in your life. So again, you see these great entrepreneurs talking about their opinions of things. It's just that. Don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. And there is a goal in the near future that you can accomplish. Anybody can accomplish. So that's really my message to you guys is really live free, do the right thing, obviously, love each other, be great business people, and listen to a lot of the stuff that we got, but take the good, leave the bad, if you will.
I think that's sound advice. Thank you, Manny.
For sure.
Jose?
For me, what came to mind is think for yourself. Start learning to think for yourself, and don't let others think for you. Don't feel that because they think that way that you need to think like they do. Be individual in that respect. I also believe that hurt people. And I think that us people need to start learning how to heal ourselves and invest in ourselves. So the number one advice I can give that I've given many of my agents is invest in self-development, whether it be the books, the audios, life courses, whatever is going to help you become a better version of yourself, right? Because I believe that that's the only way we're really going to be able to change the world and stop hurting one another because of the hurt that was done to us. So heal yourself, invest in yourself, think for yourself, and get heavy in personal development. He talked about business. Actually, right now, you should be doing business planning. So whoever owns a business, you start planning for 2023 today. Yeah. Not in January 1st or January 2nd or January 15th. You're already too late. So invest in yourself heavily. Think for yourself. Don't get easily influenced. And don't be part of the cancel culture just because they don't believe what you believe in.
I had to make a note, hurt people.
That's right.
That's what I took
Very
a note
true.
of.
Thank you.
I'm always a student of my boys.
Dr. Lewis?
JC, thank you. You know, I know you've been around for a long time and you have a vast network of people that you can have on the show. So I appreciate and I honor you for allowing me to be on the show. And meeting Manny and meeting Juan.
Jose.
Sorry.
He's getting the names confused.
All I'm thinking about now is Tapatio. That's all I'm thinking about now.
Yeah.
And we will have a poker game.
Yes.
We will have a poker
I'm
game.
in.
But
I'm ready to take
I
a
appreciate you guys because just listening to your perspective and listening to your life wisdom is powerful and it's empowering to me. The greatest takeaway from me is my mentor said this a long time ago. He said, beliefs dictate behavior. Right? So you don't need to tell me what you believe in. I can just look at how you behave and I can tell you what you believe in. And sometimes these shows, whether they're watching it or listening to it, it could influence someone
Totally.
to begin to think and believe something a little bit different. Just like that man influenced me 30 years ago and it changed my course forever. You know, it changed my life forever. So, you know, if you continue listening to these things and just open yourself up a little bit, and it's hard to tell someone to open themselves up. They have to decide that, right? But if they listen to it over and over and over, and then certain beliefs begin to be challenged and to be changed, then our behavior changes. And next thing you know, there could be a struggling 25-year-old right now that's tried so many things and has failed, but he's going to listen to this podcast over and over, and he's going to catch something maybe from you or from Manny or from Jose, and say, you know what, that's going to be my mantra for the next year. And 5 years from now, he'll be on this show telling you, giving your testimony because, you know, Manny changed his life. So just stick with it. There's always tomorrow. Nothing, you know, God never, ever wastes a hurt. Whatever you're going through has a reason. There's a lesson behind it. And if we decide to learn the lesson and graduate, we can become better people. So I appreciate you, and I appreciate you both very, very much.
Appreciate you as well, Doctor.
That's awesome, man. Thank you.
Hey, thank you, JC. I've said
Always
it. I think I said it in the last podcast, but he was the reason why at 18 years old, my mindset changed because he introduced me to network marketing. I remember that conversation. I wanted to quit the first day because I was listening to my broke ass teacher. Remember?
Yep, I remember.
He goes, meet me at Starbucks on Tweety and Otis in Southgate.
Back in the day.
Back in the days. And he told me, bro, stop listening to your broke ass teacher. Does he have the life that you want? He goes, he doesn't have the life that you want. Why are you listening to him? Come to the meetings, and because he encouraged me to do, I started picking up the books, the audios. So I commend you, brother.
Thank you,
appreciate you.
Awesome.
I know we had a long history, a long friendship, and I'm happy and that where you're at right now.
Thank you, my brother. Well, you know, part of the reason why I am where I'm at is because I align myself and I surround myself with people like you, gentlemen. I would not have contacted you to come on the podcast if I didn't have that level of respect for you, and I appreciate you guys very much. The podcast wouldn't be possible if we don't have guests like you guys, right? That's the bottom line. I can only say so much myself, right? So even though I have a lot to say, there's only so much I can say, right? But my parting thoughts, it's something that I actually shared at your office with people, is I think it takes half a decade to make life fair, is something that I say. There's a lot of people that everybody starts in different places. And so, but the decisions, I tell people, listen, every day is faced with good decisions and bad decisions. And if you have more good decisions throughout the year, more consistent good decisions throughout the year than bad decisions, you're going to have a better year. The more good decisions you have. And I think 5 years to make life fair means half a decade, right? In 5 years, somebody says, I'm going to be a student in the game. I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. And they make their goals. They surround themselves. They listen to the right information. They apply the information. They develop the discipline. 5 years from now, somebody that used to think that life was unfair can now say, you know what? I made life fair. I remember I was in that situation. No papers, no license, no money, no girlfriend, no nothing. And in 5 years, I made that decision. And I'm like, whoa.
No game.
Yeah, no game. I think I had a little bit of game, a little bit. But you know what's funny about game, man? When you start to develop the confidence and create success in some areas, your game automatically elevates because you realize I'm confident in myself. I know that I'm deserving of this person or whatever the case may be, right? So anyways, I think it takes 5 years to make life fair. There may be some exceptions, but in a nutshell, in 5 years, somebody can drastically change their life. And they're going to need some binoculars to look back at where they used to be if they develop that discipline, surround themselves with the right people, listen to the right information. So again, gentlemen, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. And by the way, before we sign off, guys, how can somebody reach you guys? So let's start with Manny.
I own The Financial Architects, a financial planning firm. So our YouTube channel is The Financial Architects, as well as my Instagram handle is Money Business Manny. We'd love a conversation with you.
Nice. Jose?
And I'm the owner, CEO of Nueva Real Estate, and we just got brokered by EXP, which is a global company, so we just went global. My handle is Broker Taps, at Broker Taps, and my company is at Nueva Real Estate. So hope to see you guys following me there.
Dr. Lewis?
Social media, you can find me on Dr. Lewis Arriaza, Arriaza. You can go to my website, Dr. Lewis and Evelia Arriaza. It's a personal development website. It's a compilation of 30 years of a philosophy, science, and art of changing and enhancing your life. We've impacted, in the last 10 years, we've impacted over 700,000 people throughout 4 different countries. And life is a blast. And just remember, God has a major plan for your life.
I love it, man. Wow. Powerful panel. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode of the Driven Not Given podcast. We're going to have all of their handles and websites on the description. I'll see you guys at the top or from the top. Take care.